By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today we are looking at another match from the Knights of Thorn tournament. We're still in the Swiss round, and this match is kind of special because I am playing in it. Yes, sir. All the tournaments that I stream and that I record at, I also play myself because playing is the most fun. And I am playing with a Tron deck, so I'm really looking forward to give you some insight on that deck. And I'm playing against a mono black build. So if you want to go straight to the games, you can check the timestamp below in the description. As usual, it is there and it'll take you straight to game number 1. And if you want to listen to the deck, and I've got a really fun deck and I'm looking forward to give you some insight on it, then don't fast forward and just stay here because I'm now going to discuss the decks. This is the deck that I am playing with. This is OrbiTron, and for the people that know a little bit about the Catholic Church, on Easter the Pope comes out and he says Urbi et Orbi, and that's his blessing, so that's why it's called OrbiTron, and also refers to Winter Orb, that Orbi part, and of course it refers to Tron, and Tron are the Tron lands. So I'm playing here with a Tron deck, Urza's Tower, Urza's Mine, Urza's Power Plant, and those powers combined will give me a lot of mana. And as you can see, I'm combining it with the colors red and white because I feel that white can give me the removal I need with Swords and Disenchant. Also, artifact decks go really well with balance because balance includes lands, creatures, and hand size, but it doesn't include artifacts. So if I can drop a lot of artifacts like the Relic Berry, the Howling Mine, and the Winter Orb that you see up there, I'm emptying my hand, but it doesn't go into the count for balance. So in that way I can use balance kind of as a mind twist almost. So I'm playing with white. I'm also playing with red. Main reason is the Fireball. So the Fireball is a great weapon to utilize all the mana that I'm going to have. You know, I'm gonna, once Tron is complete, I'll have so much land, and the easiest way to use it is just by casting a huge Fireball. Now, besides Fireball as a win con, I'm also playing with a full playset of Triskelions. Triskelions are just amazing creatures because when you cast it for 6 and it's not countered, your opponent has a problem. If they choose to disenchant or swords it, in response it can kill itself in the case of swords, so it deals 1 damage to itself going to the graveyard. In the other 2 counters, it can ping something else. So it's really a strong creature, especially in the old school 93-94 meta where there are a lot of creatures with toughness 2 or even toughness 1. So it's usually, Trike is usually a 2-for-1. It's a really strong creature. I'm also playing with 4 Suchis simply because it's 4 for 4/4, so it's just a lot of value for not a lot of mana. And as you can see here in the right top corner, you see Relic Berry, Howling Mine, and Winter Orb. Now obviously this is the classic parfait combo that I'm playing. So what I want to do is use my Relic Barrier to tap the Howling Mine, meaning my opponent only gets to draw 1 card, and in my turn I get to draw 2. The same thing goes for Winter Orb. My opponent can only untap 1 land, and at his end step I tap my Winter Orb so I can untap all my lands. That's kind of the perfect picture. Now I would like to inform you a little bit more with the Winter Orb and how I work with the Winter Orb, because a lot of decks, and sometimes including mono black, because that can be quite a quick deck, and also having a Dark Ritual, having the Mox of course available, and other Black Lotus, so Winter Orb doesn't always work. So in my sideboard I have 3 Maze of Ifs that when I see that, hey, my Winter Orb is not working against this deck because it's a quick deck or it has a lot of artifact mana, I board out my Winter Orb and I board in 3 Maze of Ifs to kind of keep my opponent at a distance to buy me some more time to build this huge Fireball or do other crazy stuff. So this is my deck, OrbiTron. Now let's look at the deck that I am playing against. And this is the deck that I am playing against. This is a mono black deck. And interesting thing here is that it is not so much black weenie. You see a lot of decks that choose to go for the really cheap casting cost, black creatures, put a lot of pressure on. I feel this deck is more a little bit of a mid-range black deck, where this player, he is playing with Black Knights, he is playing with Hypnotic Specters, as to be expected, I would almost say, but he's also playing with a few more control cards, such as Royal Assassin. He's also playing with Underworld Dreams, as you can see here. I think Underworld Dreams can be a big problem for me because I want to draw a lot of cards with my Relic Barrier, Howling Mine combination, but Underworld Dreams might punish me for that. So, that means that I will have to take 2 damage a turn. And then if he can deal some early damage with like a Hippie or with a Black Knight, I mean, before you know it, you're too low to draw cards. And so that could be a serious problem for me playing against this mono black deck. He also has some more beef in his deck. I believe he plays with a full playset of Suchi. He plays with 2 or 3 Sengir Vampires. So he's got some muscle in his deck as well. So it's not just a quick black deck. It's kind of more of a mid-range black deck, I would say. And of course, those 2 restricted cards there at the bottom, it's always dangerous to play against them. Mind Twist and Demonic Tutor, especially Mind Twist, of course. An early Mind Twist, can actually win him the game. If he can have an early Mind Twist on me and then play a lot of smaller creatures and keep pressure on, swarming the board, I'm toast. The good thing for me is, because I'm playing against black, it's always difficult for black to get rid of artifacts. And having a deck that's really artifact heavy, that could work in my advantage. So I'm curious to see how this is going to end up. I've won games against mono black because they have trouble with artifact removal, but I've also lost games because he just got, the board got flooded with creatures and I didn't have enough answers. So let's go to the actual match and find out what's going to happen here. Game number 1, and as you can see, I'm sitting on the right side with my Timmy playmat, and my opponent is sitting on the left there with the Demonic Tutor. And he's taking a mulligan here, as we can see, putting a card on the bottom, so he's keeping this hand. Now he has 6 cards. I'm starting off with the Plateau. There is a Swamp. And, ooh, a Dark Ritual into a Hypnotic Spectre. Do I have a Swords as an answer? Tapping 2 here. I don't. I just have a City in a Bottle. I wonder if City in a Bottle is really going to do anything for me, because my opponent is not playing with the Jusum Djinns. And I'm playing 2 City in a Bottles main, and it has helped me a lot in this tournament in general, but against this deck, I think it's not really going to help me. Some serious glare here, by the way. And I remember this when we were playing the match. Oh, and look at that, attacking here, and there's a Swords. So taking care of the Hypnotic Spectre, but I am taking 2 damage from the Mishra's Factory. And what I wanted to say is there was a lot of glare here on the cards, and for the second game we actually moved the table, so you're going to see a much better view. And look at this, I'm playing a Wheel of Fortune, discarding there a double Howling Mine in the City in a Bottle. And I basically just want to start all over. Oh, and look at that hand by my opponent, Louis. He only has lands in that hand, drawing another land. I do believe I see 1 Suchi there, but that's not a very good hand for him. So that's definitely a possibility for me here. And let's see if I have found a Suchi, because then I can play a land here. Oh, look at that. A Mishra's Workshop, meaning I have 6 mana now. And I can start playing out my Triskelions. Remember, I'm playing a full play set of Triskelions here. So there's a 4/4 Trike on the board. Tapping 4, you're probably going to see that Suchi that we saw earlier. Unfortunately, a lot of glare here on the table, but it is a Suchi. Tapping for 3 here, there's a Relic Barrier, and that's something I really like about... Oh, and following it up by another Suchi. So I drew a lot of firepower with that Wheel of Fortune. And what I wanted to say is what I like about the Relic Barrier is it's so useful. There's always a target for Relic Barrier. I think I would almost play it in a deck where I'm not playing Parfait. I would just use it because it's so useful. Also against those Mishra's Factories, for instance. And there is a Black Knight and there's a Strip Mine over the Workshop. That makes sense because then I don't have enough mana anymore to play Trikes. And I don't have Tron yet. I believe I need a Power Plant to enable Tron. Playing another Suchi. And there's an Underworld Dream. So that was a card I kind of feared a little bit because I enjoyed playing my Howling Mine and drawing extra cards. But with the Underworld Dreams, that gets punished. Now remember, I already discarded 2 Howling Mines with that Wheel of Fortune. So I only have 1 in my deck. So I don't think we're going to see one. Oh, and I remember this. I was checking my phone because then I can see the stream and I saw that there's a lot of glare. You have to understand when you're playing yourself, you don't see the glare on the cards or you see it from a different angle. And then when you see it on through the camera's lens, you realize, hey, there's a lot of glare. So we were kind of keeping our creature cards low here on the playmat so they're visible. And what am I gonna do here? It's looking good for me. And I think I'm thinking now, am I going to ping the knight or not? And that's exactly what I'm gonna do here. I feel like I could have also attacked with both creatures actually. Tapping 4 here, playing an Icy Manipulator. I'm playing 2 Icy Manipulators main. And there's another Black Knight. So I'm doubting a little bit about the decision to ping that Black Knight with the Triskelion, the first one. Maybe I should have just attacked first. I think that was the better decision. Also, if he would animate his Mishra's Factory, I can just tap it down with the Relic Barrier. Anyway, you saw me move that Underworld Dream so that it's more visible. And it's my turn, but it's looking good for me here, especially with that Icy and that Relic Barrier. I can just tap down his creatures, playing a Mox Pearl here, tapping his Knight, attacking, and I know if he's going to animate it, I'll just use the Relic Barrier. So let's see what he's going to do here. And he is animating it, and I'm tapping it in response, meaning he takes 6 damage. And I believe that's game because he's on 4. Yeah, that's game. So this is game number 1. I've won this one. I felt like I had total control. Now we're going to sideboard. I don't know what my opponent is going to board in, but I'm definitely going to board out the City in the Bottles because they're just not useful here. Maybe also board out my Winter Orbs. I'm not sure, but we'll see that in game number 2. Game number 2, and we have moved the table. So there should be less glare in this game. I remember. The thing is, you also have time, so you have to keep that in mind as well. And there is a Dark Ritual. Hard to see here into a Hypnotic Spectre again. Ooh, and that's lucky for me. I have an answer again. You know, that's what you're hoping for. And I had to discard 1 card in that first game. But now I have an instant Swords to Plowshares. And there's a Soul Ring. I do believe I boarded in Mazes of Ifs, by the way, as well. Just to have some extra weapons to deal with early pressure. And now I use my Relic Barrier to tap that Soul Ring. And he's hitting me for 2 here with the Mishra's Factory. So I'm going to 16. And playing my Urza's Mine. And there's another Relic Barrier. And now I can even tap down his factory if he wants to animate it. So I don't believe he's going to do that. Let's see what's going to happen now. Ooh, there's a sinkhole over my tower. And as you can see, I mean, Tron is a very weak tactic. Ooh, and look at that. It looks like there is some serious glitching here. Some problems with the equipment. Luckily, it looks like it's stabilized again. And it's my turn after that sinkhole. There's a Maze of If, not very helpful at the moment. Taking a damage again, playing a Chaos Orb. I wanted to say Winter Orb, but it's definitely a Chaos Orb. The question is, am I going to use it now on a land because I don't want him to get to 5 land? Or am I just going to wait for him to play out the threat? And look at that, playing a Howling Mine. Keeping that Soul Ring tapped. So that means I'm going to get to draw some cards. Maybe I'm keeping my Chaos Orb as well against a possible Underworld Dreams. And there's a Suchi, which is not really a big problem for me with that Maze of If and a Relic Barrier. And playing another Urza's Mine there. Unfortunately, no tower or power plant. Passing turn here. Not tapping down the Soul Ring, so I want to keep my Relic Barrier to possibly tap down the factory or the Suchi. Playing another Mishra's Factory, so there's some pressure on the board. Another Suchi. And it's getting kind of busy on the side of the mono black player. But remember, I'm drawing 2 cards a turn. Finding a power plant, so I need a tower now to get Tron going. Tapping down my Howling Mine, passing turn again. And with that Maze, the Suchi, and the Relic Barrier all available, it looks like I can handle a possible attack from my opponent here. And what I'm doing now, I'm simply buying time, and in the meanwhile, I'm drawing extra cards. So I'm thinking, if I'm drawing more cards than my opponent and I'm staying alive, I'm probably going to win this. That's kind of my reasoning at this point. And it's my go again, drawing 2 cards. And you see me immediately tapping the Howling Mine after draw step. That's because I don't want to forget. I don't want to give my opponent 2 cards by accident, which has happened before. So I'm trying to kind of get into routine of drawing 2 cards and then immediately tapping my my Howling Mine. Playing an Icy Manipulator here, so that means some more control for me here. It's going to be interesting what I'm going to do at my end step. If I'm going to use that Icy to tap one of the Suchis and also use the Relic Barrier, perhaps. I'm using one of the relics here at the end step after that casting of the Black Knight by my opponent. So he's got quite a lot of creatures. Tapping 2 again. And tapping the Howling Mine like I did the turn before. And this is important here. Tron means, playing the tower means that I have Tron. So that means that my Urza's Mine's power plants are now giving 2 mana each. And my tower 3 mana. So I've got a lot of mana on my hands here. Playing a Mox Ruby as well. Tapping here for 6, playing a Triskelion. So that's pretty nice here. Having a 4/4, having a Trike. Kind of building on my board presence here. And the question is always, when is it a good moment to use that Chaos Orb? When is it a good moment to tap all those creatures? Apparently it's not now because I'm passing turn. But every turn I'm getting more and more in control. And of course the extra card draw is a huge help with that. And let's see if my opponent Louis can do something. End of turn now, tapping both of the Suchis. So that is going to give me an opening. Playing a Strip Mine over one of the factories. And in response, Louis is, or is he or isn't he? So we're kind of discussing what factory are you taking. So basically what he's doing, he's animating one of the factories and then pumping it up with the factory that I'm removing. It doesn't really matter here because there's a Quick Swords to Plowshares that I cannot use against that Black Knight. And attacking now. And he's taking the 8 damage. And after that I'm pinging the Black Knight. And playing a new Triskelion. And that means that in one turn he has lost 3 creatures. So 2 Mishra's Factories and a Black Knight. Tapping 3 now. Are we going to see an Hypnotic Spectre? Ooh, a Royal Assassin. But of course this is easy for me to take care of. And that's so great about the Trikes. The Trikes can do so much work. It's really also a control card. It's not just a creature, it's also a control card. Attacking here with the full army, meaning I can deal 9 damage here, and now it's going quickly. Being able to tap both of the Suchis. There's Suchi number 4. Tapping both of them on the end step, meaning he has 1 left, but I can tap it next turn, and I believe I can then take the game. So that would mean a relatively easy victory. And you can see here that I didn't really need the Maze of Ifs that I boarded in to protect me basically from the Hypnotic Spectres. Forgetting here to untap my Triskelion there. Yeah, exactly. Doing it now. And there goes an attack for 9. And after that I can ping him for another 3 with the Trike. And that's it, that's game. Okay, well, really nice for me to look back at this victory. Obviously, I knew the result already because I'm playing, but it's nice to see, and you can see the power of the Relic Barriers when your opponent is playing with Suchis or Juggernauts, especially Suchis. You see them a lot, and Relic Barrier can really help, and of course against those factories as well. So really happy with this result. 2-0. Sorry, there's not a third indecisive game. That's usually really nice to look at, but it's not here now. This was a pretty clean victory. If you'd like to see more old school Magic, you can click on the videos that are appearing right now if you want to support the channel, if you want to support Timmy Talks, you can do so by liking, leaving a comment, subscribing if you're not yet subscribed. Don't use an ad blocker. I mean, of course, you're free to use an ad blocker, but if you want to help, don't use one, because that generates some income for me. Well, thank you for watching. If you want to see more of Knights of Thorn, I've got a playlist. You can click on there and see the previous rounds, and I will be posting more Knights of Thorn games in the upcoming weeks. What else can I say? You know, have a happy new year, and see you all next time at Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic.
Igitus figitus sumba kazee.